Hello there guys, it's Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. And so today is a day of reckoning. The cat's finally out of the bag and Brittany finally knows what's happening with Yazan and his family. And it's decision time. Yes, that's right, our favourite couple from 90 Day the Other Way are Armando and Kenny. But we're not talking about those guys. Today we're going to be talking about Brittany and Yazan. So this is the Ebird Online review for 90 Day the Other Way. Season 2, Episode 22. Never Stop Fighting. And guys, this is going to be a long one, we've got quite a lot to get through. But I think this week, things take a very interesting turn of events. If you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing to my channel. And also please press the like button if you enjoy the video. And so without further ado, I give you Brittany and Yazan. So when we first meet this couple, they're once again going to meet Adam the translator. And Brittany tells us she invited Adam along again because she wants to have an efficient conversation. Well then Brittany should not speak so slowly then. And guys, this did make me laugh. Brittany gives us about 5 words per minute. I can type faster than Brittany speaks with my feet. And it's very difficult to work out, does her brain just work slowly? Or has somebody cut her cerebral cortex? So all 3 of them sit down in a restaurant. Adam came prepared with tissues, concealer and emergency false lashes. For we never know when Brittany's emotions may overflow. And guys, you know the question I posed to you last week? Well, we finally got an answer. Was Brittany really crying? Or was this sobbing of a tearless variety? Adam the translator got in touch last week and he left a message in my comments saying, yep, Brittany definitely was crying last week when she heard about the death threat. And so it does seem as if Brittany was genuinely moved and she was genuinely taken aback by this turn of events. Anyway, back at the restaurant, Brittany began by saying she realises that Yazan has lost a lot of things for this relationship, and she also says that she wishes he'd told her of the danger that he was in with his family. Yazan replies, don't worry about this. And Brittany says, no, please don't hide things anymore, don't try and protect me, because that's what causes our trust issues. And Adam goes on to translate this, and the way he explained it was like, that's what causes our trust issues early in our relationship. And it's very interesting to me. I noticed this last week and I'm seeing it again. What Adam is saying and what's being written on the screen isn't the same. And this is quite disconcerting because 20 or 30% of the couples that are on this show don't speak English as a first language, and we quite often rely on the translation that we're given. Now obviously I don't speak Arabic, so I don't know, but something tells me that when Adam's translating, he's putting it into some sort of context. And there's definitely a different nuance to what we see written on the screen. And I think when we see translation by 90 Day Fiancé, they're translating it quite literally. And so of course it's quite a worry if all of this time we've been getting these really literal but not necessarily true translations, and we've been making assumptions based on these translations, and that in turn means we're not really getting a true sense of what's happening before us. I don't know guys, let me know what you think. I might make a video about this, but there's a couple of times when people have come into my comments and they've said, no, Rose didn't say that, or no, this was what was said, but this is actually what it means. We could have well have all been taking people's comments completely out of context. And I'm actually quite keen to know what you guys think of this. Anyway, I digress. Brittany then goes on to ask, are we actually in danger? And Yazan confirms, yeah, that's correct, we are. And he further adds, some of my family are completely fixated with us. These are distant relatives. And they're watching us all the time. And that's why my father wants to kill me. They think that you're in porn movies. And they also say that we've already got married. And guys, the translator had to deliver this porn movies line with a straight face. Honestly, I had third-hand embarrassment. And although Brittany didn't say very much, you can see she was somewhat taken aback by this. How do I know? She inclined her head by 0.001 of a degree. And then Adam explained he wants you to understand more about the dynamics of the family. And he said it's not just the immediate family, it's the overall tribe. We have long traditions and customs and ways of handling things. And it's the tribes who are going to get mad. When I decide to get married, my father will sit down with the heads of this tribe and they'll have a meeting to examine the evidence. Then the tribe can either disown me or they can kill me. And again, Brittany's face was very still, and she is quite a hard girl to read. And I might be wrong, but what I took from it all was this, that she perhaps didn't take the situation as seriously as she might have done before. But because Adam's saying all of this so matter-of-factly, and as if it's so normal, it's really hitting home for the first time. It's almost as if for the first time it's a likely scenario. And it seems extremely shocking to me that this is all going to be discussed by a group of people. And I feel like if they are going to carry this out to Yazan, they can murder him with impunity. And the truth be told, I can kind of understand why Brittany doesn't have anything to say. I mean, guys, what would you say to that? But then Yazan said to Brittany, I want you to forget all of this. When it comes to us getting married, I want to know how you feel and I want to know what you say. And Brittany said to production, Yazan really got us into hot water without making me aware of the stakes that we were up against. And I gotta say, for once, I completely agree with Brittany. It would have been nice if she'd have known this information, or at least known some of this information sooner. Yazan and his brother have known all of this for quite some time, and they really haven't made her aware. Even when he explained he'd moved out, he didn't explain the circumstances, he just said, I've moved into my own place. She thought, oh, he's levelling up. He's being a man, he's being who I want him to be. No, he's getting kicked out. And Brittany says she really doesn't know what to do. But Yazan reasserts, forget about all of this, don't worry about it, I just want to know what you think. Yazan, how can Brittany forget about a death threat? How can Brittany forget that her fiancé is going to potentially be minimum disowned by the whole of his family? It's not something you just erase from your mind. Your father has promised to murder you if you marry her. Even if you're vacant, Brittany, that's not a forgettable fact. And message to Yazan's parents, do you think that your threats scare Brittany? Newsflash, yes they do. And next time we catch up with this couple, they're going for a walk in the city. And guys, I low-key feel like this is a tourist information guide by the government of Jordan, because every time we see these guys out and about, we see these beautiful panoramic views over the whole of the city, we see gorgeous markets. Jordan really does seem like a beautiful place steeped in history, and I low-key want to go there. I'm just worried about if they have a proper rule of law, preferably if they're on Sharia variety. But I think we know the answer to that. So they walk down some steps and sit down, and Yazan tells us he's very interested and curious to know what Brittany's thinking. And Brittany wastes no time in telling him, and she says, I know you're trying hard and I know you've been under lots of pressure, but I'm really concerned about your situation. And she says to producers, it's crazy for him to put himself in the line of danger. And Brittany continues, because you can either be killed or disowned, Jordan is not the best place for either one of us. And Yazan said, so what do you want me to do? And Brittany said, well, when we first got together, you asked me before about the possibility of moving to America, and I was really against it, but I think that that's the best place for us now. And then something very interesting happens. Brittany tells producers, I didn't want him to move to America because I wanted to check that his intentions were pure. I didn't want him to go to the States at my expense, but now it's the only thing we can do if this relationship's going to move forward. What? Interesting. I never knew that Yazan's first thought was to move to America, and I'm going to talk a bit more about this later, but I find that very interesting. And then Brittany said to Yazan, how do you feel about moving to America? And Yazan said, well, I don't know how I feel. And then to producers, Yazan said, going to America is not a dream for me. I never really thought about going there. And Yazan said to Brittany, I hope to be here in Jordan, but if you want me to go to the States, I will. I really want to be with you. And Brittany said, well, if it's going to be dangerous, then that's the only option. And then they talk about visas, and Brittany says that K1 is probably the best option. And they talk about time frames and costs, and unsurprisingly, Brittany knows nothing about either. But then Brittany says she feels that she wants to go back to the States to look into all the options, and she tells him that she feels more comfortable there. And Yazan told her, well, I'm really scared if you go home because I feel as if you're going to change your mind. And when he said that, he was looking straight at Brittany, and Brittany said nothing. Again, she was wearing the Brittany blank face. And then Brittany finally says, well, I don't know what the future holds. And interestingly enough, nothing at all is discussed about Brittany's IG accounts and the videos that she has online. And I would have thought that if she was really in love with Yazan, she would have said, okay, I'm going to put my settings on private and I'm going to clear my social media up a little bit. But it wasn't even mentioned. So guys, let's talk about this. According to Brittany, initially Yazan wanted to go to the States, and Brittany said no. I guess she didn't want to be just used for a green card, and she wanted to see if the relationship could work. Now this answers some questions, but throws up many, many more. And at exactly the same time, Yazan said, oh, I've never really thought about going to the States before, but if you want me to, then yeah, the States isn't my dream. Both cannot be true. Which is it? And to my mind, this turns everything on its head. Because Brittany knew that Yazan wanted to go to America, that's why she decided to go to Jordan, because I could actually never understand it. She doesn't seem like she'd fit in Jordan. Obviously her career is completely in America, being an IG girl and being a rapper/model. All of these things are only going to be possible in America. Or I suppose some might say only possible with talent. But we continue. So I now understand why she was happy to go to Jordan, because she was just kind of testing the relationship out. And I think long term, her plan was probably always going to be to relocate the couple to America once she'd sussed Yazan out. And that kind of makes the relationship make a little bit more sense. I'd always said previously, she doesn't take this relationship seriously. She's not in love with him. Maybe she was, who knows? And maybe them both relocating to the States was an unspoken plan by her. Also, it was a puzzle to me as to what Brittany was actually going to do, day by day in Jordan. But I guess if she was never planning to stay there, it wasn't an issue. She could just hang around and chill out for a year or two and then apply for the K1 and go back to the USA. And finally, on the Brittany side, I always got the feeling when she was leaving her parents, it wasn't a for good goodbye. Even the amount of luggage she brought and everything, it wasn't as if she was packing up her whole life. And now we realise she wasn't. It was going to be an extended holiday. And also, Brittany's dad's grin of a fool smile makes a little bit more sense. Next up, Yazan. So Yazan, you tell production, I never thought about going to America. It's not my dream. But Brittany explicitly said, when we were first talking, you said you wanted to come to the States and I was dead against it. To be dead against something means that somebody has asked you or suggested it more than once and more than just in passing. So was this Yazan's plan all along? Is Yazan even in love with Brittany? Or does he just want a green card? And when people were in my comments saying he just wants a green card earlier, I thought no evidence, because he doesn't even seem like he wants to leave Jordan. He's setting up businesses, he's making moves over there. But now we discover that he always wanted to come to America. It puts a different slant on things. So both things cannot be true. Either you did want to come to America or you didn't. And if you did, why do you seek to deny it now? Why do you seek to say, oh, America was never my dream, it's the first time I've thought about it? Very interesting. And then finally, and most interestingly of all, remember when Brittany did the IG live and she said something along the lines of Yazan's situation with his parents has been much exaggerated and it wasn't all necessarily true. And I did a video about it, so I'll link it here in case you guys haven't seen it. And really, I just figured, okay, they've broken up and she's just trying to kind of throw dirt at him or whatever. Or I thought that the whole I'll kill you my son was a figure of speech and not an actual act that Yazan's dad was considering doing. Maybe Brittany was alluding to the fact that they'd exaggerated this whole scenario as a way for Yazan to get to the States.
No, look, I'm gonna be real with y'all. That boy never had a job. He didn't get beat up and thrown out his house because of what he's telling y'all happened. It has some shit because he's disrespectful to his parents, and that's why that happened. It had nothing to do with me. He's not only disrespectful to me, he's disrespectful to others, and ain't nobody who's paying you to talk shit to them in their house.
And it's obvious, the only possible outcome if somebody issues a death threat is for you to move back home and potentially take Yazan with you. And it would be a fantastic Jedi move on Yazan's part to have his dad talk about honour killing and disowning to make Brittany say, okay, yeah, come to the States. So it could have been a very sneaky double bluff by Yazan. And I've never been able to get out of my mind that I just don't understand, even if you were planning on carrying out an honour killing on your son, why would you say it in front of the cameras? Why would you put it on TV? He knows there's going to be then an international spotlight on it. And I hate to have to talk about this sort of thing, but imagine they did carry it out. There would be a massive uproar because it would be like, oh my God, the star of this show is the victim of an honour killing. So guys, I'd really like to know what you think in comments below about all these theories. But of one thing we can be sure, both things cannot be true. Either Yazan, you wanted to go to America in the first instance, or Brittany got the wrong end of the stick and you didn't. But it can't be that Brittany was really against it, but you'd never thought of it or mentioned it. These statements are diametrically opposed and both cannot be true. So next time we meet up with these guys, Brittany and Yazan are meeting with Abida, Yazan's brother, and Adam the translator once again. And they sit down in a restaurant and Brittany says to Abida, it's not safe here, so I'm going back to the States to file for a K1 visa. How do you feel about me taking your brother to the States? And Abida says, what does Yazan want to do? And Yazan says, I want to go. And we don't really know if he said, yeah, I want to go, or yes, I want to go. But I can have a very good guess. And Abida says, well, you don't know what you're getting into. You're hoping to trust Brittany 100%. But luckily, Adam didn't translate this for Brittany, and she was none the wiser. And Yazan said, yep, I trust her. And Brittany said to Abida, can you guarantee that Yazan will be safe? because if something happens to him, my life will stop. And Abida said, I wasn't 100% sure about you when you came, but now I'm comfortable with everything and I know that you're sincere. I can keep Yazan safe with my family. And Brittany said thank you. And Yazan said hopefully his brother can talk to his parents and that he can go back home. And the next time we see Brittany, she's with Yazan in a taxi and she's off to the airport. And I think it's a case of saved by the bell, because as we know, Brittany wanted to go home anyway, but her hand's been forced anyway by Miss Rona's bony fingers. All international flights are going to be leaving Jordan and Brittany has to get on one of the last ones. In the taxi, they both profess their love for each other. And Yazan asked Brittany, do you still want to get married? And Brittany said, well, yes, but there's lots of things we need to talk about and we need to take some time to go through the process and see what happens. At the end of the day, what will be will be. Yada 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 yada. And I think that Yazan was giving Brittany's unconditional support a test drive, but whoops, it transpires that Brittany's forgotten her keys. And Yazan tells production it's a very difficult process to get this visa. How do you know, Yazan? Looked into it, have we? And it takes a lot of time. What happens if Brittany forgets about me in the meantime? Oh, don't worry about that, Yazan. She's got the Ebird talking about her week in, week out. I won't let her forget. And Brittany goes to board her plane. In the final scene, Brittany tells producers she loves Yazan, but she doesn't know if it's the right relationship for her. And she said he stands to lose a lot by marrying her. And Brittany leaves to board the plane wearing her I'm not sure lanyard around her neck. And that's where we leave this couple this week. And colour me surprised, I thought there was nothing really more to know about this couple. But this week's bombshell about the whole moving to America thing has made me reassess the whole of this relationship, and it's made me really consider people's motivations. And I did at one point feel really sorry for Yazan because I thought he's really in love with her and she's just clout chasing. But now I'm wondering, was he in love with her or did he want a green card? Guys, let me know below what you think. I'd be very interested to hear this. And has the revelation of finding out that he always wanted to go to America changed your view of him? Was this all a clever trick from Yazan? And I think we can see how this relationship ends now, because Brittany was extremely quiet when they were talking about marriage and what she wanted to do, and she kind of skirted around the situation. And it did make me realise sometimes they do get on. When Brittany says nothing, their relationship seems somewhat better. And what do you think to what I was talking about earlier and Adam in the translation? His interpretation has been markedly different, both last week and this week, from what we've been seeing from the 90 Day Fiancé team. And how do you think possibly incorrect translation, or possibly far too literal translation, or translation without nuance, affects us as a viewer watching this show? I think it can have a very detrimental effect. This show's uniquely centred around people talking about love and their thoughts and their feelings. And I think one or two misspoken phrases can change how we view an entire relationship. I mean, for instance, there's quite a difference between don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, oh, don't stop, don't stop. So the same two words go from one meaning to a completely different meaning. How do we know, if we're just seeing words on the screen, what it actually means? And if this story wasn't also tragic, I would say it's kind of like an episode of Scooby-Doo. Right at the very end of proceedings, the masks have come off. If only we'd have pulled these masks upon first meeting everyone, we'd have found out everything we needed to know. So guys, let me know down below, what do you think about the translation? What do you think about Yazan? Was he in it for a green card in the first instance? And do you think that Brittany ever had any intention of marrying Yazan? For the Ebird, the jury's back. No, she didn't. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Just before I go, please don't forget to subscribe and like and all that good stuff. It's fun over here. And if you haven't as yet, please press the bell notification so each time there's a new video, you guys know about it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and thank you so much for all of your support. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.